I will start off this video like I do every other one by going through my list. In this case it is the World Eaters Combat Patrol. Within this box you get 1 Lord on Juggernaut, 2 lots of 10 Berserkers, both armed with 2 Plasma Pistols, 2 Eviscerators, an Icon, 7 Chain Weapons and 7 Bolt Pistols. And finally a group of 10 Jackals with a Skull Smasher, Mauler Chainblade, an Icon, then 7 Jackal Chainblades and 10 Auto Pistols. So a few rules are different in Combat Patrol to try balance them out a little bit. So my World Eaters don't get the +1 strength and +1 attack on the charge like they normally do, but they do get their Blessings of Khorne. They are just nerfed a little bit, so you'd still get access to the Feel No Pain, the Fight on Death, and the Lethal Hits, meaning both movement blessings have been removed, being the +2 to your move and the advance on charge. There are also no abilities on my units, so no Blood Surge on my Berserkers and no sticky objectives on my Jackals, and the Lord doesn't get to deal mortal wounds on his charge. So to set the scene this weekend, I went to my first real tournament, and it was a Combat Patrol tournament, obviously. During this, everyone played 3 games. You had a 2-hour game limit, but none of them reached 2 hours. In every game, I chose the Skulls for the Skull Throne enhancement, which means whenever my Lord on Juggernaut kills a unit, I roll a d6. On a 2+, I gain a command point. In my first 2 games, I chose the Ravage and Ransack secondary mission, which means I score 4 victory points at the end of my opponent's turn, as long as I'm controlling the objective marker in their deployment zone, or the nearest objective marker to their battlefield edge. In my last game, I chose the Blood Offering secondary objective, which means I score 2 victory points every time I kill an enemy unit on an objective. So they are slightly different. You can score more overall from the first one, I believe, but obviously it depends how many units your opponent has and what situation you're in at the time, because it'd be hard to get on their objective first turn. But with all the rules out of the way, we're going to move on to game 1. Game 1 was against Tyranids. They had the Swarm Combat Patrol, which includes 1 Winged Tyranid Prime, 2 lots of 10 Termgaunts, 1 Psychophage, 5 Barbgaunts, and 3 Von Ryan Leapers. He chose the Alpha Xenoform secondary mission, which meant he needs to kill models with his Wing Prime, and each turn he does, he gains 4 victory points. The mission was Clash of Patrols, which was Take and Hold primary mission. It's pretty simple, 5 victory points for each objective marker you're holding, up to a maximum of 15 victory points. The mission rule meant in each player's command phase they can pick 1 objective marker that they control and gain 1 command point, but your warlord must be alive and you cannot pick the same objective more than once. That includes if I gain 1 CP from an objective, my opponent cannot do that on the same objective even if they now control it. Now, on to turn 1. I roll my Blessings dice and get lethal hits as well as Feel No Pain. I went first, so I moved everything up other than my Jackals, which stayed on my home objective. My Lord and Juggernaut charged the Von Ryan Leapers behind the 2 containers. They have fights first, so they hit my Lord, but all 3 didn't do any damage to him. He then fought back, killing 2 of them, and then in my opponent's turn he fought back, dealing no damage, and my Lord killed the last one. During my opponent's turn, he also moved up his Wing Prime all the way into my Jackals, killing 4 of them. They then fought back, and due to some very lucky rolls, The 6 remaining jackals killed his wing prime, and that was about all that happened during the first turn. Turn 2, I get Feel No Pain and Lethal Hits again. I start my turn by moving my lord straight into my opponent's home objective and charge into his 10 termagants. One group of 10 berserkers move onto the objective my lord was just holding, and the other 10 move towards my opponent's psychophage, which they charge and manage to kill that turn. I'm still on the objective as I left a trail back to the objective that my berserkers were on. My lord fights and leaves 2 termagants standing, which is not a problem because I didn't score my prime until the end of my opponent's turn, so I still have the chance to kill them and take the objective. In my opponent's turn too, they move their other 10 termagants towards my 10 berserkers on the objective. Then between them and the barbgaunts, they manage to kill 3 berserkers. The only fights this turn are the termagants and my lord. I fight with the lord and kill both remaining gaunts, so I then control that objective and I score my secondary. Turn 3, I gain Lethal and Feel No Pain, then charge my opponent's termagants, kill all of them with my berserkers. Then he conceded the game, so I spend my other 2 turns going round and scoring points, ending the game 76-9 to the World Eaters. I know conceding normally counts as a 100-0 win, but I wasn't going to mention that. I was happy with the result. I was happy just to leave it as it was. Game 2 was against Custodes. The mission was Recover Architect, which scores same as the last game. However, the mission rule meant at the beginning of the 4th battle round, a random objective in no man's land would be removed. Then the same thing would happen at the start of the 5th battle round. My opponent was using the Gilded Blades Patrol, which comes with 3 Custodian Guard, 1 Blade Champion, and 3 Custodian Wardens. His secondary mission was Victory's Price, which gives him 3 victory points whenever he kills an enemy unit, but he gets -1 victory point whenever one of his units die. Which I think is a pretty cool rule, and would like to see something like that brought into 40k as a fixed objective. So you could run that with no prisoners or assassination, and your pure game plan would be to kill your opponent's army, while they kill as little as possible of yours. But anyway, their enhancement was to give the leader an extra 4 OC whenever he's within engagement range of an enemy unit. With that said, we'll move on to turn 1. Turn 1, I go for Lethal Hits and Feel No Pain. Have you noticed the pattern yet? I go first and activated my Monkey Brain, moving everything straight forward other than my jackals, which again stay on my home objective, and that was it for my turn 1. My opponent moves up their leader and their Custodian Guard, who both charge my lord. However, I do get to heroically intervene with my berserkers. Then my opponent piled in 2 my berserkers with his Custodian Guard, killing all but 2 of them. Those 2 berserkers took the leader down to 3 wounds. Then my lord split his attacks. All of his normal attacks go into the guard, and the Juggernaut's attacks go into the Shield Captain, which is his leader. This killed 1 guard and took the captain down to 1 wound remaining. And there it is. There's always at least one part in my videos where something is left on a single wound. There it is for this video. Embrace it, everyone. Turn 2, we continue the trend of Lethal and Feel No Pain. My berserkers charge into the leader and the other 2 guard, kill both the guard and the leader. On my opponent's turn, he moves down his wardens to shoot my berserkers, killing 1 of them, then charges them, managing to kill 7. They then fight back and kill 1. In my turn 3, I just got lethal hits. My lord and other two berserkers charge in and finish off the wardens. So I then spend the rest of turn 3, all of turn 4, and all of turn 5 just scoring points. So I finished the game 63 to 5 in favour of the Blood God's chosen boys. Game 3's mission was Display of Might. Mission rule meant the Insane Bravery stratagem could only be used on units that are within 6 inches of your warlord. The Insane Bravery stratagem lets you automatically pass a Battle Shock test. To score primary, you got 5 if you're holding one objective, got another 5 if you're holding 2 or more. You then got 5 if your leader was on one of the objectives, and another 5 if your leader was on the same objective for consecutive turns.
Shut up, Omi. It's time to hear from the orcs and the Git Stompers. In the Git Stompers, we got our war boss, 10 boys, and other 10 boys, 3 death copters, and the death dread. And that's all the boys. And let me tell ya, they are great at crumping the Umis.
Anyway, now I've embarrassed myself with that. The enhancement that the orcs are using reduces the damage from range attacks by half, and their secondary objective, they get to choose one enemy unit at the start of their command phase. If they kill it in their turn, they score 3 victory points. My opponent went first, and yet again I had lethal hits and feel no pain. In my opponent's first turn, they moved their Deathcopters out of cover to shoot my lord, which he survived every hit somehow. The Warboss, Death Dread, and 10 boys moved up the right side, and that was all. In my turn, I moved my lord onto the left objective, moved one lot of berserkers up behind my lord to support him, and the other berserkers through the building so they could attempt to charge the Death Dread, but they did end up failing. Then my jackals stayed on the home objective like normal. Turn 2, you can guess what my blessings are by now. My opponent chose my berserkers on the right to be his target for his secondary, and activated Dwa. This turn, moved his Deathcopters over to the right to shoot at my berserkers, managing to kill 4 of them. The boys and the Warboss and the Death Dread all moved up towards my berserkers. The Death Dread killed another berserker with his rocket launcher, then charged the berserkers with his Death Dread and his boys, which left a single berserker. He then killed 2 of the boys in return. As this game I took the secondary to kill units on objectives, just to change it up a bit, and my opponent had more units that I was actually worried about charging. So I decided to go for that one instead of trying to push onto his home objective this game. On my turn 2, I moved the jackals. Yeah, that's right, they do something this game. They charge the Death Dread. My 10 berserkers on the left charge the remaining boys over on the right side, and my lord moves around the terrain but stays on the objective as he charges the 3 Deathcopters. He manages to kill the 3 Deathcopters, which surprised both of us. The berserkers clear the remaining boys. The jackals deal 3 wounds to the Death Dread, who then kills the lone berserker in return so he could score his secondary. Turn 3, I only get lethal hits, so it breaks the pattern a little bit. My opponent chooses my lord as his new target for his secondary. He then moves his 10 boys towards him, shoots them with the boys and the Death Dread, taking them down to 5 wounds. The boys then charge my lord and to get them onto the objective, so they take it off of him. They then take him down to 3 wounds, and he strikes back, killing 7 of them in the process. They then fail their battle shock, so I'm holding that objective again. The war boss also charged my 10 berserkers this turn. He killed 2 of them. They then struck back and killed the war boss. Turn 4, my berserkers charge into the Death Dread, but make sure to stay on the objective still. They do manage to kill the Death Dread. Then over on the other side of the battlefield, the 3 boys managed to kill my lord. Exactly 3 wounds dealt. Where's Feel No Pain when you need it? This scores my opponent their secondary objective, and we're on to turn 5. Turn 5, we're back in business with lethal hits and Feel No Pain. My opponent moves his boys as far back as possible while still being on the objective, shoots at my berserkers and kills 1. On my turn, I move the jackals back to the place on the home objective where they belong, and move the berserkers towards his boys and manage to make a 9-inch charge. They then kill the boys, scoring the secondary for me as they were still on the objective, leaving me to score points for the rest of turn 5. Even though it was the closest game I had in this tournament, it still ended 56-26 in favour of the World Eaters. So yeah, that's it. I did win the tournament fairly convincingly, being the only player to win all 3 matches. It was quite fun playing Combat Patrol, but I don't think this is going to make me play it any more than I do at the moment. I do enjoy the smaller games though, as it makes you think more about what you're doing before you do it, and your models each feel more valuable because obviously you have less of them compared to a 2,000 point game. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed my first tournament experience. There will be bigger tournaments in the future. I don't know exactly when yet, but yeah, that's all. Please remember to like, subscribe. My Instagram and Twitch are in my channel page. Yeah, see you next time.
That only gone yet? Good, good. Let me tell you something about the boys, right? We's the best, and if you don't think we's the best, then you's a sodding git, and we's gonna crump ya and bring ya to the boss in his little pieces, 'cause we's the orcs, and the orcs is...